Welcome back to the Dark Reading News Desk at Black Hat USA. Terry Sweeney here, contributing editor with Dark Reading. Joining me now is Christofer Hoff, Chief Security Technology Officer with LastPass. Christofer, thank you for joining us on News Desk.
Yeah, thanks very much, Terry.
Appreciate you doing this. Let's start with what happened to LastPass a few years ago.
Yeah, so we had the really interesting opportunity to spin LastPass out as an independent company. And as part of that, we had a couple of really unique things occur at the same time. You could call them sort of elements of a perfect storm. We had to separate the company. We had a new executive team. And as I often tell my architects and engineers, there's a Roman architect named Vitruvius, and he said, listen, if you're going to design something, it ought to be beautiful, strong, and useful. And so we set about to remake the company and reinvent it. And began that journey almost 2 years ago to the date as we joined together with a new executive team and started to spin LastPass out.
Beautiful, strong, and useful, huh?
Yeah, beautiful, strong, and useful.
Well,
good combination.
Bravo.
Thank you.
Well, if you can get even 2 out of those 3, I think you're doing actually better than most of the crowd, right?
Agree.
So you've been with LastPass, what, just a couple years?
2 years, yep.
Talk about what drew you to LastPass in the first place. Was it this great opportunity to remake something from the ground up or something else?
Yeah, there are about 3 different things that I like to focus on that really answer your question poignantly. One is that if you look at the vexing problem that is about 50 years old, which is passwords, everybody suffers from them. Everybody hates them. They're a terrible problem to manage. Password hygiene, password complexity, changing rules and standards, and shared passwords and those sorts of things lead to a huge percentage, 78% I think, of
Thank
all
God
breaches.
for Post-its, by the way.
Oh, Post-it notes, yes. We seek to replace the Post-it notes, obviously. But the interesting thing is, given that vexing problem, I looked at, and if you consider the diversity of the security industry as a whole, you walk around the floor downstairs and there's just thousands of products. It's sometimes very difficult to understand the value, right, of what you get from products and being able to recognize what value they bring. The beautiful thing about password managers, and specifically LastPass, is it solves 2 really important problems for both people and companies. A security problem and a convenience problem. And they're intermingled and intertwined. In as much as security is one over convenience. You can make something really convenient, but it may be not as secure, and vice versa. So that attracted me because the value proposition was instant. You could make tens of millions of people's lives easier on a daily basis, both from a convenience and a security perspective, and that was the beauty that drew me there. Second thing was the opportunity that we spoke about in the beginning, which was reinventing a 15-year-old company as we spun out into an independent company, and everything that meant. And the second thing was, the third thing was a very interesting opportunity that most folks don't get to do, which is merge the Chief Technology Office with the Chief Security Office, and really think about security by design by integrating the 2. So I lead both engineering, the people that develop our products, and I also lead the security teams that secure them. So those were the really 3 things that drew me here.
Talk about the benefits of merging those 2 C-suite functions, both the benefits and also the disadvantages.
Yeah, the disadvantages are both its advantage and disadvantage. The only person I really have to argue with is myself, and sometimes I win. I'm not sure which that is.
Bravo.
But if you think about what Jen Easterly's been talking about at CISA, right? You've got secure by design, which is how you build and think about things, and you have now a new concept or a revitalized concept called secure by demand, which is how do companies think about mandating that vendors deliver and build secure software, not just useful software. So going back to beautiful, useful, and solid, right? And so when you think about the benefits there, it really takes the notion of secure by design and how we bake in the capabilities to deliver a product that imbues not only for enterprise customers but for consumer customers a way of delivering the most secure but also really convenient platform possible to manage the complexity of passwords.
With this greenfield opportunity that you had, talk about how you went about assembling your own team.
Yeah, it was very interesting because you asked in the first question what happened. About 2 months into us starting to separate, we got hit by a security incident. And what was interesting about that security incident is the things that we decided to do and how we prioritized them actually were no different than what we had planned to do. It just changed the velocity at which we had to approach solving these problems. So imagine you're separating everything that makes a company, a 15-year-old company, tick. Every piece of infrastructure, every endpoint, every SaaS service, your identity, every single piece, while maintaining 9 billion connections a month to our service, which is what we service through the front door, keeping all that running while separating up a basically parallel company, moving people over, and having to rebuild everything. So if you think about those three perfect storms combined, we built and brought aboard a security team, about 50 people, that have built just a best-of-breed, amazing security function. All the typical things you'd think about, but everything from threat intelligence to governance, risk and compliance to detection and response, et cetera, and had to do that in the middle of a security incident. So the team I brought together are just the cream of the crop as it relates to security professionals. But again, going back to what I talked about with that combined capability of secure by design, being able to integrate them into how my engineers think on a daily basis and think of ourselves as a security company, not a company built that would just deliver convenience through password management, super important.
Talk about the intersection of threat intelligence and password management. That's a curious sort of combination, not unexpected, but I haven't heard it before. And how does it work?
I think you would recognize how it's usually spoken about, which is things like dark web monitoring. If there are breaches, you sort of are told, hey, your password has been created in a breach. Now, that also implies in many cases that poor password hygiene has led to the fact that if somebody gets a hold of that password and you've shared it across accounts, it's going to lead to a larger attack surface to exploit. I could get your banking, if you use the same password for bank accounts, etc. So threat intelligence, in the classical sense, as applied to both protecting a company, but then protecting your customers, is the very interesting intersection that we've built around. So we have a privacy operations and safety team who relies upon what we call the TIME team, threat intelligence, mitigation, and escalation team, to precede them with threat actor activity that would otherwise indicate, for example, that there are campaigns being launched against our customers that they should be aware of, and maybe think about what that means to them. Have they used the security dashboard that tells them, hey, listen, while you have the ability to auto-generate really strong, complex passwords, you have password reuse on these old accounts. You should go change that ahead of time. So that is a very interesting but sort of normal application in enterprises applied to both consumer and business use cases.
All right. Talk about some of the biggest takeaways that you've achieved from creating this security team and deploying all the supporting technologies.
Yeah, I think it comes down to a word that you'll hear around the show floor and talks a lot, which is resilience. Right?
Sure.
I think Mike Tyson said it best when he said everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the face. Having an incident response plan is great, but being able to actually implement it, make use of it, is incredibly hard in the best of times. Imagine you have a brand new executive team, you're separating a company, etc. So the thing we learned about is a focus on people, making sure that our ability to communicate well and clearly to our customers is supremely important, and ensuring that we're able to think about how our platform itself is relied upon by our customers for their resilience. So we learned a lot of lessons about resilience, being able to invest and make sure that our people are taken care of so that they can execute on their function in the middle of duress, but also at the end of the day, keep the customer in our focus, right? Build beautiful, strong, and useful products. And so a lot of those takeaways have come from crisis, and as they often say, don't waste a good crisis.
No, sure, but there's the ways that we think we're going to behave in a crisis, and then there's the ways we actually behave. Your situation gets complicated because it's not just your crisis, it's the customer's crisis.
Correct.
I mean, it really compounds one another.
Yep.
How does that work?
So we see that every time we have a large-scale incident that may be caused by your product or a breach of a service or product. And third-party security at this point, if you use a vendor, third-party security really becomes first-party security when you think about it. It's an extension of your company. So the lessons learned here are communicate quickly, communicate transparently, with all of the caveats that go along with that, which is making sure that you're communicating factual data, and you provide the incident response teams, the governance teams of your customers with as much actionable intelligence to protect themselves, right? And that's a huge lesson that every single company learns, either the hard way or through practice. And it's incredibly important to execute appropriately, because the only way you gain trust is knowing that, well, it's not what happens to companies when they get breached, it's what you do about it.
Christofer, real briefly now, just tell us, is LastPass safe to use now?
Absolutely. I have been, and my family uses it on a daily basis. That hasn't changed. It won't change. We have tens of millions of customers on the consumer side, hundreds of thousands of businesses that continue to use the product, and will for some time, and we're just going to make it better, stronger, and more useful.
And hopefully beautiful as well.
Beautiful too, yes,
Excellent.
Of course.
Really appreciate you joining us on the Dark Reading News Desk. Some great insights around the future of passwords and the role of threat intel there. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
We've been talking with Christofer Hoff of LastPass. This has been Terry Sweeney for the Dark Reading News Desk. Thanks for joining us for this segment.